My name is Chomeze. If you are hearing my voice today, then it means one thing. I did not die the night they came back for me because I was supposed to. I know some of you may not believe people like me exist. Some of you will say this is superstition. Some will call it trauma. Others will think I am trying to scare you, but I am not here to scare you. I am here because there are things happening in this world, behind churches, behind family celebrations, behind success stories, behind sudden deaths that most people will never understand until it is too late. And if Pastor Daniel Ofori of Kingdom Fire Revival Ministries in Accra had not forced me to tell the whole truth on the altar that Friday night in November 2018, I would still belong to them, or worse, I would be one of the smiling women sitting in your church today, clapping during worship while carrying assignments from a kingdom you cannot see. I was born on August 14, 1989 in Enugu State, in a village called Umuode near Nsukka, Nigeria. My father, Pa Benedict Eze, was a respected pine wine tapper. My mother, Mama Grace, sold okpa by the roadside. We were poor, but we were not empty. We had laughter, we had peace. Until my father died. I was 9 years old when they brought his body home. They said he fell from a palm tree. But I remember something nobody else seemed to notice. 3 days before his death, my grandmother's younger sister, Auntie Nwakego, arrived from Ebonyi unannounced. She came at exactly 7:13 p.m. I remember because my mother kept saying, "Why would somebody travel this late?" That night, Auntie Nwakego asked for only one thing, my father's used singlet. She said she wanted to wash it for him. My mother laughed and said no. But the next morning, the singlet was gone. 3 days later, my father was dead. At his burial, Auntie Nwakego held me so tightly and whispered into my ear, "Your father's star was strong, but yours is stronger." At 9 years old, I thought it was affection. I did not know I had been marked. After my father's death, everything changed. School became difficult. Hunger became normal. My mother struggled. Then Auntie Nwakego returned with an offer. "Let Chioma come to Abakaliki. She will go to better school. I will train her." My mother cried with gratitude. She thought heaven had remembered us. But heaven was not who sent her. The first thing I noticed in my aunt's compound was the silence. Not ordinary silence. The kind of silence that feels like something is listening. No dogs barked there. No birds rested on the roof. Even the air at night felt heavy. She lived in a yellow bungalow near Aziyokwu, Abakaliki. From outside, it looked normal. Inside, every room has strange mirrors, not decorative mirrors, tall dark mirrors that made you look delayed, like your reflection was following you half a second late. The first night she told me, "If you hear your name at midnight, do not answer." I laughed until I heard it. "Chioma." That was my father's voice. I froze on my mat. "Chioma, come outside." I nearly stood up, but then I remembered her warning. I stayed. The next morning, my aunt looked at me for a long time and smiled. "Good," she said. "You survived your first call." That was the beginning. At age 10, I was introduced to what they called the inner women. 7 women, different ages, different tribes, one purpose. Mama Ijele from Onitsha, Mommy Rose from Calabar, a woman they called Sister B, who attended Catholic Mass every morning, and others whose names I was forbidden to say outside ritual grounds. They did not recruit me with fear, they recruited me with pain. They showed me my mother suffering. They showed me children mocking my torn sandals. They showed me wealthy girls in polished shoes. Then they asked me, do you want power or pity? I chose power. God forgive me, I chose power. My initiation happened on May 3rd, 2000. I was taken to a forest near Mbo Road at exactly 1 o'clock a.m. There was a river, black, still, silent. They stripped me naked, rubbed my body with white chalk and rooster blood. Then Auntie Nwakego placed a live python around my shoulders and said, from today, her eyes will open. I wish I could tell you I ran. I did not, because by then they had already fed me, not food, covenant. For 3 months before initiation, they mixed things in my meals, powders, ashes, blood. By the time I reached that river, part of me was already theirs. They dipped my head into the water, and when I came out, I could hear things. I heard insects speaking. I heard whispers under the ground. I heard women's voices discussing my future. Then something entered me, not metaphorically. I felt it, cold, violent, ancient. That night, I became what they called an ugommo, a spiritual ego. My body would sleep, but I would live. At first, they sent me on small assignments. Assignment 1, destroy a teacher. His name was Mr. Olawale Adeyemi, my mathematics teacher, newly transferred from Ibadan. He was kind, too kind. He kept telling me, Choma, you are gifted. Don't let pain define you. The kingdom hated that because he kept praying over students quietly. So they gave me a charm, powder inside a blue handkerchief. I was told to hide it under his classroom chair. I did. Within 3 weeks, he developed confusion. He forgot formulas, began hearing voices, started removing his clothes in public. People said madness. I knew better. When he was transferred out, the women celebrated. That was the first time I realized we were not playing, we were destroying. And once blood enters your conscience, the second assignment becomes easier. Assignment 2, break a marriage in Enugu. A businessman named Chief Emmanuel Okeke was prospering too quickly. His wife, Ngozi, was a prayer warrior. We were sent through dreams. I appeared to him nightly as a beautiful woman in white for 21 nights. On the 22nd night, he followed me spiritually. By December, he had a mistress. By March, his wife had hypertension. By August, the family collapsed. I was 14. 14, and people still wonder why some deliverance take years. Because some of us did not just witness darkness, we administered it. But the kingdom always demands promotion through blood. At 17, they gave me my first irreversible assignment, a baby. Yes, a baby. Her name was Favor, born in Lagos, Surulere, daughter of a rising evangelist, Pastor Basi Odom. That child was marked for something dangerous to darkness. They said her prayers in infancy were disrupting marine traffic. I know how insane that sounds, but in that kingdom, destiny is profiled early. Children are watched, some before birth. I was sent through the child's nanny, a woman already compromised. My assignment was simple: introduce spiritual weakness through the naming ceremony gift. I placed enchanted gold bangles among the presents, but something happened. The grandmother, an old woman from Akwa Ibom, she touched the bangles and screamed, "Who brought death here?" I had never seen spiritual sight like that. The bangles caught fire, literal fire. My arm burned from a distance. That was my first failed assignment, and failure has consequences. That night, they beat me in the spirit. If you have never been flogged outside your body, you may not understand. I woke up bleeding physically because the dark kingdom does not tolerate wasted operations. By my 20s, I moved to Lagos, Lekki Phase 1. On Instagram, I looked successful. Fashion deals, soft life, luxury restaurants, but I was bait, beautiful bait. We targeted pastors, musicians, politicians, young men with stars. Some of the women you envy online are not what they seem, not all, but some. And sometimes the seduction is not sexual, it is spiritual harvesting. Then I met him, Pastor Daniel Ofori, Ghanaian, not flashy, not famous globally, but dangerous to darkness. I first encountered him in June 2018 when a friend invited me to a Friday vigil during what was supposed to be a business trip in Accra. I only went because I had an assignment: seduce, access, report. Simple. But from the moment he looked at me, everything changed. He did not greet me. He said, "You have traveled with serpents, but tonight, fire will travel with you." I froze. No introduction, no counseling session, no prior knowledge. Then he said my childhood river's name, the exact river. I screamed. For the first time in 18 years, I was afraid, not of witches, of exposure. That night, deliverance started. But here is what nobody tells you: deliverance is not always freedom. Sometimes, deliverance is declaration of war. Because when I publicly renounced them, I embarrassed powers that had invested in me since childhood. For 3 months after that service, I confessed only what was convenient. I told people I was manipulated. I said I was a victim. I omitted names, altars, buried items, covenants I still secretly protected out of fear. Half-truth. And half-truth is still a legal door. Then they came back. November 22nd, 2018, 2:47 a.m., East Legon, Accra. I woke up unable to breathe. My room smelled like the Abakaliki River. Wet earth, blood, smoke. Then I heard it. My father's voice again. "Chioma, you left something unfinished." I knew instantly. Not my father. Familiar summons. 3 figures stood near my window. No faces, but I recognized their presence. Auntie Nwakego, Mama Ijele, and me. Yes, my old self. Because sometimes what comes back for you is the version of you that never fully died. They said, "Return what belongs to us or we collect with interest." I saw cockroaches become scorpions. My ceiling turned to moving shadows. My chest felt pain, and then a child's voice began praying from the apartment next door. Just one sentence, the blood of Jesus, over and over. A little Ghanaian girl, maybe 6 years old. I do not know her name to this day, but her prayer interrupted my death. I survived till morning. By sunrise, I ran barefoot back to Pastor Daniel. That was the day I told everything. The buried cloth in Ebony, the names, the mirrors, the rings, the seduction network, the online recruitment strategy, the children's monitoring circles, everything. And when full confession came, real deliverance began, because darkness survived secrecy. For 7 days they prayed. On day 4, I vomited things I cannot explain publicly. On day 6, I led them to a property in Abakaliki under Auntie Nwakego's old kitchen. They dug and found it. My father's singlet, my childhood underwear, bone fragments, my photos, calls, cowries, 20 years of legal evidence destroyed. Auntie Nwakego died 2 months later. Stroke, they said. I will not interpret. I only know systems collapse when altars do. Today, I live quietly in Kumasi with my husband, Kweku Mensah, and our 2 daughters. But I still sleep with worship music. I still check mirrors differently. I still do not answer voices at night. And every November 22nd, I fast. Because freedom is free, but maintaining it costs vigilance. So if you are listening to me now as someone who has left darkness, tell the whole truth, not polished truth, not church-friendly truth, not edited testimony, whole truth. Because what you hide may remain a chain, and sometimes the dark kingdom does not come back because you left. It comes back because part of you never did. My name is Chioma Eze. This is my confession. And if even one person listening chooses full deliverance over partial freedom, then maybe the night they came back for me will not be wasted.